Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava, page 79b at the top of the page, with the words Schiros de Metaltalim Metaltali B'nei Shitardinum. It is speaking of the rental of movable property. Is movable property subject to the writing of a deed? Rather, Rav Chizda said, it is referring to the rental of land. Rabbi Elazar says, if people saw a thief who was hiding in the woods near a herd of grazing animals, and that individual emerged and slaughtered or sold one of the animals from the herd, he pays the fourfold or fivefold payment. The Gemara asks, why is the thief liable to the fourfold or fivefold payment? But did he not pull the animal? Rabbi Elazar is apparently describing a case where the thief emerged from the forest and slaughtered one of the animals without first moving it, and there is no fourfold or fivefold payment unless the thief first steals the animal. Rav Chizda says this is referring to a case where he hit the animal with a stick, causing it to move. With regard to Rabbi Elazar's statement, the sages say, but since people saw him doing all this, he is a robber, not a thief. And the fourfold or fivefold payment applies only to thieves. A thief is one who sneaks into a house or other private property. One who commits his act brazenly in public is classified as a robber. The Gemara answers, since he is hiding from them, he is considered a thief, despite the fact that they saw him. The Gemara asks, but if so, what are the circumstances of a robber? Rabbi Bahu said, robbers are like the case of Benayahu ben Yehoyada, as it is stated concerning him. He slew an Egyptian, a goodly man. V'yigzol es hachanis miyad hamitzri v'argeu b'chanito. V'yigzol et hachanit miyad hamitzri v'argeu b'chanito. It says concerning Benayahu ben Yehoyada that he slew an Egyptian man. The Egyptian man had a spear in his hand, but he went down to him with a staff, and he robbed the spear out of the Egyptian's hand, and he slew him with his own spear. I always liked that one. It'd be a good sequence, a fighting sequence in a movie, I think. You know, the mighty men of King David. You have little shorts, little clips. You'd see this scene with Benayahu ben Yehoyada, and he's with the Egyptian guy, and he's like, bah, kills him. Anyway, that's 2 Samuel 23:21. Rabbi Yochanan said a different example of a robber is a case like that of the men of Shechem, as it is stated, and the men of Shechem set ambushers for him at the tops of the mountains, and they robbed all that came along by way of them. Judges 9:25. The Gemara asks, and what is the reason that Rabbi Abahu did not say the example from this verse, which discusses the men of Shechem? He could have said to you, since the men of Shechem were hiding in ambush, they are not considered robbers, but thieves. And how would Rabbi Yochanan reply to this claim? The fact that they were hiding was not because they were hesitant to steal in view of the public. Rather, they acted in this manner so that the travelers should not see them in advance and flee from them. The Gemara concludes its discussion of theft with several agadic statements. His students asked Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, for what reason was the Torah stricter with a thief than with a robber? Only a thief is required to pay the double, fourfold, or fivefold payment, not a robber. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said to them in response, this one, the robber, equated the honor of the servant to the honor of his master, and that one, the thief, did not equate the honor of the servant to the honor of his master. The robber neither fears God nor people, as he is not afraid to rob in public. The thief does not fear God, but he does fear other people, which demonstrates that he is more concerned about humans than God. As it were, the thief establishes the eye below, in other words, God's eye, as though it does not see, and the ear below, that is, God's ear, as though it does not hear. The Gemara cites verses that describe people who imagine that God does not see their actions. As it is stated, "Woe to them who seek deeply to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, 'Who sees us, and who knows?'" Isaiah 29:15. And it is written, "And they say, 'The Lord will not see, neither will the God of Jacob give heed.'" Psalms 94:7. And it is written, "For they say, 'The Lord has forsaken the land, and the Lord does not see.'" Ezekiel 9:9. It is taught in Braita that Rabbi Meir said, to illustrate the severity of a thief over a robber, as per Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai's explanation, they stated a parable in the name of Rabban Gamliel. To what is this matter comparable? To two people who were living in the same city, and both of them prepared a feast. One of them invited the people of the city to his feast, but he did not invite the king's sons. And the other did not invite the people of the city, and also did not invite the king's sons. Which of them deserves a greater punishment? You must say that is the one who invited the people of the city, but did not invite the king's sons. Likewise, both the thief and the robber show disdain for God, but the robber does not display more respect for people. The Gemara discusses why there is a fourfold payment for a sheep, but a fivefold payment for an ox. Rabbi Meir said, "Come and see how great the power of labor is." The theft of an ox, which was forced by the thief to cease its labor, leads to a fivefold payment, whereas the theft of a sheep, which was not forced by the thief to cease its labor, as a sheep performs no labor, leads only to a fourfold payment. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, "Come and see how great human dignity is. The theft of an ox, which walked on its own legs as the thief stole it, leads to a fivefold payment, whereas the theft of a sheep, which the thief carried on its shoulder as he walked, thereby causing himself embarrassment, leads only to a fourfold payment." New Mishnah. The Mishnah says one may not raise small domesticated animals, that is sheep and goats, in settled areas of Eretz Yisrael as they graze on people's crops, but one may raise them in Syria despite the fact that with regard to many other halachot, Syria is treated like Eretz Yisrael and in the wilderness of Eretz Yisrael. One may not raise chickens in Jerusalem due to the sacrificial meat that is common there. There is a concern that chickens will pick up garbage that imparts ritual impurity and bring it into contact with sacrificial meat, thereby rendering it ritually impure. And priests may not raise chickens anywhere in Eretz Yisrael because of the many foods in a priest's possession that must be kept ritually pure. For example, truma, which is the heave offering. Furthermore, one may not raise pigs anywhere, and a person may not raise a dog unless it is tied with chains. One may spread out traps for pigeons only. One may spread out traps for pigeons only if this was performed at a distance or at least 30 ris, which is 8,000 cubits from any settled area, to ensure that privately owned pigeons are not caught in the traps. Gemara. The sages taught in Braita, one may not raise small domesticated animals, that is, sheep or goats, in settled areas of Eretz Yisrael, but one may raise them in the forest of Eretz Yisrael. In Syria, it is permitted to do so even in a settled area. And needless to say, it is permitted to do so outside of Eretz Yisrael. It is taught in another Braita, one may not raise small domesticated animals in settled areas of Eretz Israel, but one may raise them in the wilderness that is in Judea, and in the wilderness that is on the border near Akko. And even though the sages said that one may not raise small domesticated animals, nevertheless, one may raise large domesticated animals. In other words, cattle, because the sages issue a decree upon the public only if a majority of the public is able to abide by it. This difference is that it is possible for someone to bring small domesticated animals from outside of Eretz Israel in the event that they are needed. But it is not possible for someone to bring large domesticated animals from outside Eretz Israel whenever he needs one, since there is a constant need for them as beasts of burden. Therefore, the sages did not issue a decree with regard to these types of animals. The Braita continues, and even though they said that one may not raise small domesticated animals, however, one may keep these animals on his premises for 30 days before a pilgrimage festival, and 30 days before the wedding feast of one's son, when many animals are needed for food, provided that he does not leave at least one. That is, the animal which he purchased immediately before the festival for 30 days. The Gemara clarifies the final line of the Braita. The Braita needs to state this ruling as it might enter your mind to say that if the pilgrimage festival has passed and 30 days have not yet elapsed from the time when he bought the animal until now, he may keep the animal until 30 days have elapsed. To counter this, the Braita teaches that we do not say it is permitted to keep it for a total of 30 days. Rather, once the pilgrimage festival has passed, he should not keep it any longer.